Welcome to the Global Business Women's Pod, brought to you by the Greater Houston Women's Chamber of Commerce. I am Susan Dyson and proud to be the CEO, President, and founder of the Chamber. Please join us for this empowering podcast every Thursday at 6 p.m.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage our next panel, Asset Manager, Permian, New Mexico, and East Texas Chevron, BIRLIE Bourgeois. Senior Earth Scientist, MCBU C&D Chevron, Kat Hoffman. U.S. Diversity and Inclusion Manager, SLB, BALIIA McKinney. And Earth Science PDR Subservice at Chevron Technology Company, the dynamic moderator for our allyship panel, JB CLAVAUD.
Wow, that is bright. And I'm not talking about the lights. I'm talking about you guys. So thanks for being here today. It's my pleasure to be your host for this panel on allyship and the role men can play in that journey. I'm delighted to be joined on this panel with my three panelists here. So I will let them introduce themselves quickly. Why don't we start with you, BALIIA?
So good morning, everyone. I guess good afternoon now. My name is BALIIA McKinney. I am the U.S. Diversity and Inclusion Manager for SLB. And I'm happy to kind of contribute to this discussion talking about allyship. One of our main themes this year for our employee resource groups is the Year of the Ally. And it's all about making sure that our employees feel like they belong, that they feel accepted, and we're able to spread a lot of education and awareness about different communities through our employee resource groups. So very excited to join the discussion. Thank you.
Kat, do you want to tell us who you are and why did you accept my invitation, by the way, for this panel?
Hello, everyone. I'm Kat Hoffmann. I'm a senior earth scientist at Chevron. I'm currently working in our Mid-Continent Business Unit, but I have been heavily involved in the Women's Employee Network at Chevron for, I think since I started Chevron 15 years ago. And I helped launch the Men Advocating Real Change program at Chevron in 2017. And I was actually lucky enough to go work for Catalyst for a year and a half. Chevron loaned me to help them put together materials so other companies could launch the program.
All right, BIRLIE, your turn.
I'm BIRLIE Bourgeois, Chevron, asset manager for our Permian operations. I'm here today, I'd probably boil it down because of Kat. Not because she invited me, but I was a part of our pilot program for Mark, our allyship program within Chevron in 2017. And through that, it really kind of helped open my eyes and really kickstart my journey as an ally, and progressed on I co-led the Mark program in Houston with Kat. So really enjoy the opportunity to share kind of my nuggets from, I'd say, the other side of the wall on allyship.
All right, and I'm JB CLAVAUD. I too work at Chevron, and I'm also an alumni of the Mark program, so that probably explains why I'm here today. So let me start with you, BIRLIE, with my first question, if that's okay with you. To inspire and empower women and girls, what does allyship mean to you?
That's a great question. So to touch on this, I'm going to use an example from fine arts. And by fine arts, I mean the Barbie movie. So how many of you have seen the Barbie movie? Right. So it's hard to see in the lights here. But so I'm a girl dad. I have 4 daughters. So if I thought I was going to escape that, I was sorely mistaken. So, but there was a monologue in the movie that I think has resonate with a lot of women. I'm not going to go through all of it, but I'm going to hit just a couple of points. So, and this is from the Gloria character. So it's literally impossible to be a woman. You're so beautiful, so smart, and it kills me that you don't think you're good enough. Like we always have to be extraordinary, but somehow we're always doing it wrong. You have to be thin, but not too thin. You can never say you want to be thin, but you have to say you want to be healthy, but you also have to be thin. I'm just so tired of watching myself and every single woman tie herself into knots so that people will like us. And so to me, what an ally means, it's somebody who understands that somebody is going through something else, that the world is not only the way you see and experience it, and it's a way that you can help. So, I think, what you believe shapes what you see, and what you see shapes your action. So I believe that every person has dignity. So how that shapes how I see it is I know everybody comes to the table with baggage, their own baggage, and they see the world differently. So how that shapes how I react is that in the position I'm in, a position in the majority, that I can act on behalf to help others be inclusive to bring their full selves to work.
Thank you, BIRLIE. These are extremely powerful comments, and they do resonate with me as well. So you could have not said that better. I could have not said that better. BALIIA, let me turn to you. I have a question from your perspective. What role do men and boys play in inspiring and empowering women and girls? How do you see the role that BIRLIE and I can play in that journey?
I think a lot about the programs that we've put in place to make sure that we're seeing women be promoted and advance through our company, through the hierarchy. And we have started to build a lot of mentorship programs where we have women and men that will sponsor our more junior employees. But what I really think is going to be the difference maker is sponsorship, and that's taking things a step further. I've heard women are often over-mentored and under-sponsored, right? So when you have that position where you're at the seat of the table, you have that privilege to give visibility to someone outside of your network, really looking outside and thinking about who can I help to get that visibility, who can I help to mentor and kind of give the rules of the game to, so that we see better representation throughout the company. So I think that's really the secret ingredient. I don't know if I would say supporting, but empowering, I think, is a great word.
Yeah, no, thank you. I think when I started my journey in marketing, that was my first reaction was like, hey, I'm aware of the importance of women. Why do I need to do something else? It was like, good. Being aware was just not good enough, and it took me a while to get there, but I'm here now. So thanks, BALIIA. Those are definitely a good point and things for every man in this audience to take back today and ponder on. Kat, I know you have a few slides you want to share with us, but before we bring them, can we bring slide number 2, if you don't mind? Let me ask a question around you, a very practical one, Kat. I mean, you've been starting the MARC program in CHEVRON, but what advice or tips would you give the rest of the audience here if they want to start some sort of allyship program, could be MARC or something of sort? Do you have things you want them to leave today and some tips and advices to give them?
Absolutely. I could spend probably an hour talking about this, so I'll try to keep it concise, which is why I put together a slide to keep me on track. I guess the first thing I would say is to truly have a successful program, it has to come from the top and from the bottom. So you need some sort of grassroots, in which we recognized in CHEVRON, right? Mike Worth, who's our current CEO, was the executive sponsor of the Women's Employee Network, and he had attended an event and seen a talk about MARC and really wanted to implement it at CHEVRON. And so he came to the Women's Employee Network and said, please make this happen. And we said, yes, sir. And we put together a pilot program, right? So start small. You don't have to tackle everything all at once. But what we found was the most effective was to go to the men who already get it, right? We know who those men are. We work with them. Go to them and ask for their help in engaging other men to become involved. We hosted a launch event. We asked every woman that came to bring a man with them. Our vision of success for the MARC program at CHEVRON was we would have 8 male leaders and 1 female leader lead a group of 10, and that we would have about 70 people still involved at the end of the year. Well, almost 200 people showed up at our launch event, and almost 300 people signed up to join the program. So it became really popular. We were kind of doing it on the fly. So, really just think about, what is one question that men could get together and talk about? Provide one data point, 2 or 3 questions, let them talk. I think is a great way to start. And once they start talking, they'll start sharing their learnings. So it's really a win, build, send environment. So win people over, build up their skill sets, and then send them out to bring more people in.
Kat, thanks for those words. I think what you just said is very important. And the way I like to summarize it, it's a two-way street. You need the support from your executives, from your leadership, to provide the air cover for the people who, down the trenches, are willing, from a bottom up, to change the way things were done. So this is very critical to have both this top-down and bottom-up approach to a successful allyship program. Thanks. BIRLIE, I'm going to go back to you. You know, among some of the reasons people jump to help and support a cause, could be the role of women in the workplace or any other type of cause, is that most of the time they feel an emotional connection and want to help or correct an injustice or something they think is just not right. What should allies do and not do when they want to become an ally of a woman or girls in general? You know, give us some tips on what to do, what not to do, and I'll take some notes as you go.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm an expert in it, but I'll share just things I've seen. So I'll start with first the not do, because those are pretty, I'd say, easier to. So the first thing I see that people do that's a challenge is they think, like, I'm going to be the superhero and I'm going to come in and save the day. Like, I think it's, you know, as an ally, you need to realize, like, you're not a superhero. Like women are very capable. They can help us out. You're there to be someone to help and move things along from a different point of view and different position. The other thing I would say is maybe the tangentially related, but people who say, like, okay, I'm going to incorrect all the wrongs that have happened, and I'm going to call it they force change in an incorrect way. So an example would be, okay, I'm going to go into a selection meeting, and I'm going to make sure we select a woman for this job, no matter the qualifications. And I mean, I'm sure all of you there and women I've talked to, like, no one wants to be selected just because they're a woman. You want to be selected because you're the most qualified. So that's the pitfalls that I see people who they take it to an extreme will fall into. But to make it simple for me of the things to do, I just call it the ABCs, right? So one is awareness, right? To be an ally, you need to be aware that there's a problem. And I think that's where I was before I was in the MARC program. It was like, I don't see this, so I don't see there's an issue, so what's the problem? So once you're aware of the problem, you can talk more about it. The second is that you have to believe that you can make a difference. So based on the data that we saw in the MARC program, people, they didn't want to be a part of the program, or they didn't feel like it could be impactful for two reasons. One is, I'm uncomfortable having this kind of conversation, or two is, I don't believe that anything I say is going to make a difference. And I think if you're an ally out there, you want to be an ally, like, truly, if you act on behalf of someone else, you can make a difference. And the last one, the C part, is care. You have to have a reason to care. This can't be wow, this will look really good on my resume if I go be an ally for something. You have to have a reason to keep you doing it, or else you're just going to stop.
Thank you. Those are extremely good points. And I think I resonate with the last one particularly. The driver for me was as well part of look at my spouse and see kind of a thumbs up from her. Yeah, you're going the extra mile now. You're just not recognizing me as a woman in the oil and gas industry, but you're doing a little bit more to advance my cause. And so you don't do it for yourself, you do it because you look at someone else and that person says simply thank you. And that's when I know, like, okay, I'm on the right track. When my wife told me thank you, that was like, okay, that's it, that's the path I need to follow. Let me jump back to you, Kat. Why is inspiring and empowering women and girls important in general? So if we step back, you've given us some advices on how you do it, but why we should be doing that in the first place?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think, most of us know there have been multiple studies that show that women are less self-assured than men, less likely to self-promote, and less likely to take big risks to further their career, right? We often apply for the job that we know we can do, right? We meet all the qualifications versus, getting half of them and then learning the rest on the fly. And so having other women or, allies, yeah. That one's too late now, but that's okay. Think about the Cotter model of change while you're implementing a program, right? Create the climate, engage and enable, and then implement and sustain. So you can use that as a baseline for getting something going, back to the other question. But so inspiring and encouraging. I think it's critical to have those sort of role models. I'm a great example of this. I'm the first person in my family to get an advanced degree, and that is because of Dr. Lisa Pratt, my advisor. She encouraged me to go to grad school, helped me get in, and actually forced me to interview with Chevron after I refused the first year. And her words to me were, if people like you don't go work for this organization, things will never change. And that really struck with me. And when I asked her why she had helped me so much to get to where I was, she said, someone did it for me when I was younger. So it really creates that ripple effect that we don't always see, that I think goes through multiple generations.
Excellent, thank you. BALIIA, can you walk us, please, through how you've implemented that in your own company? Can you give us some insights? I mean, Chevron has been on this journey for a while, so I want to hear from a different company, because each company has its own culture and ways of approaching and trying to solve these kind of problems. Can you share with the audience how SLB has embarked? Why did you decide to go down that path? For how long have you been doing it? And how is it working for you at SLB?
So I think we've been a part of this journey with Mark for maybe 2 or 3 years, so not as long as Chevron, but I know that it has been such a special and unique program. Especially there's a training called the immersive training, which is a day and a half, and people cry, people have breakthroughs, people become very vulnerable, and they just walk away understanding so much more. And I think it's all about the journey, right? And I think we kind of touched on it, that there's kind of an advocacy continuum. And we might be in different places, and we have to meet people where they are. And that was a big learning curve for me. But it's really true. We have to meet people where they are, and just the education and awareness sometimes. And then if you are an ally, the people that are already passionate about it, how can we take that to another level? Another thing, and I just will kind of talk about what I brought up in the beginning about our employee resource groups and allyship being so important. One thing that we do is combined ERG events that include the communities from LGBTQ+ women, our Black organization, our disabilities organization. And what's great about those combined events is that maybe you came for one community, but you hear something that you didn't know from another, and then guess what? I'm more than one thing, right? So those events are so powerful in bringing people together and understanding how they can be allies.
Thank you so much, BALIIA. This is good to hear. I mean, probably resonate with us at Chevron. We've seen this kind of drivers, why we are doing it, and how it's been impactful. We have a few more minutes, so let me continue down the path of my questions. Kat, one question for you. Merriam-Webster defines ally as one that is associated with another as a helper, a person or group that provides assistance and supports in an ongoing effort, activity, or struggle. The term has come to be associated with marginalized group in general, but can you go beyond? Can you help us define it from your perspective? What do you think an ally should be, so it can also help me become a better ally? So can you give your one-liner on what's an ally?
Oh, one line. Ooh, that's a little tough.
2 lines.
2 lines, thank you. I mean, BALIIA brought it up, right? The advocacy continuum. You don't just wake up one day and you're an ally, right? You are first unaware, right? You're absent. You have no idea what's going on with a certain subset or group. And I love that you hit on intersectionality, right? We're all not just one thing. And then you become aware of these issues, and you start learning more. And, kind of pro tip at this point, don't go ask the marginalized group to get you up to speed. You do your own research, and then go and ask thoughtful questions. And then, you really start becoming more active and being an ally, seeing opportunities. And to me, the end goal is to become an advocate. And that is where you are proactively looking for opportunities to make change.
Okay, so we have our marching orders. We need to upgrade from ally to advocate. Okay, that's a good opportunity to put that on my 2024 objectives. Thank you, Kat. BIRLIE, let me try to wrap up that panel with you with one question. If you could have given your younger self one piece of advice or encouragement before starting on this journey, beyond go watch the Barbie movie. So if you could have given yourself one advice, what will that be?
Yeah, when I thought through this question, the advice I would give my previous self is the same piece of advice I'm going to give each and every one of you here today. It's to look, listen, and act. Because there are way too many people who are dealing with exclusion in our workplaces, in our world. And it's not exclusion from a gender, it's just all kinds of exclusion. And you can be that person that can make a change and help change the trajectory of their life and their future.
Yeah, no, thank you. This is an excellent one. I just became aware of one organization actually called the Paper Ceiling, who is trying to promote people who did not graduate with a degree, a college degree. So, we've heard over the last few years, women need to break the glass ceiling, and now there is a new word in my vocabulary, which is the paper ceiling. And so I encourage all of you to look really like how you described the advice to your younger self. So I think this is it for us. We are at our time. I would like to ask my panelists one last question, one last thought you want to leave us with, BALIIA?
One last thought is just empathy. I think that's a big part of allyship is empathy, and it's not about walking in someone else's shoes. It's about listening to their stories and getting their point of view of what it's like to walk in their shoes. Right? I know I screwed that quote up from Brene Brown, but but it's an awesome visual of how we need to listen to people and accept that maybe they have a different experience.
Thank you. Kat?
I guess I would say never underestimate the power that you have to make a difference in someone's life. I never expected this to be in my career path at all, and I'm very grateful that I was able to listen and act and learn along my journey.
Thank you, Kat. BIRLIE?
Yeah, for me, I'd say allyship isn't a program. It's people, right? So each individual person can make a difference. You don't have to wait for your company to have some big program to make an impact today.
Thank you so much. So thanks for everybody listening to this panel, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you again next Thursday at 6 p.m. For more information about the Chamber and our podcast, please visit us at GHWCC.org.